Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again. Ken Roy here. Now it's a glorious spring afternoon and I've got a DIY project here which I wanted to do for some time, but that has been catapulted because my neighbours have now got a dog, which is not a bad thing, but because I actually want to make sure that dogs don't come running into our garden. At the moment we don't have a garden gate, and we've decided to actually make one for the end of our garden which leads up to the main entrance. So I went over to B&Q today. I got the cheapest gate I could find because I didn't want anything too big and too heavy, and this is kind of a trial and error thing, so I didn't want to overspend on a great big heavy gate for the area. Now I'll switch the camera around just to show you where I'm thinking of putting this gate, and hopefully I'll be able to get the post into the ground, attach the gate, and also make a small fence just to go beside it in order to prevent, you know, the dog from running down the path. He's a young puppy, very happy, full of energy, and so I just want to make sure that we basically protect the kids when they're in the garden and so on. So I'll show you what this looks like now. So initially I was thinking of using this old gate which I had left over from before, but unfortunately it's not wide enough to cover the span of the area which I'm thinking of actually putting this gate. So I went over to B&Q and I picked this one up for just £36, which isn't too bad if you ask me. Can't complain about that price. And the idea is to put this gate going across this section here. So I've got this bit of timber left over, which of course I'm going to be reusing to make the post to actually go into the ground here, which the gate will attach to. And then I've also got these pieces of timber which I don't even know where I got them from in the end, but whenever I see bits of spare timber I always try to save it because it's so expensive to actually buy wood at the moment. So I'm going to use these pieces of timber to make a small fence just to bridge the gap beside the actual gate. Now that's the plan anyway. Whether or not it'll be easy to execute, time will tell. Now perhaps one of the most tricky things to do will be to dig into the ground and actually get the posts slotted into the ground with some concrete mix which I've got left over, and then attach the gate to that. Hopefully it will have enough strength over time, as there's not much to actually attach it to because here is just the fence. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. I've just managed to actually dig the hole, which was surprisingly easy. I mean, it was like this clay sandy soil which was so easy to dig out, which I couldn't believe. I managed to dig the hole deep enough, so what I'm going to do now is backfill it with a bit of rubble. I've got some ready mix postcrete, but I think it's called postcrete anyway, which I'm just going to pour into there, mix it with some water, make sure that it's plumb, and once that's done then at least I'll have the post for the gate to be attached to, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, as if by magic I've now got the postcrete. Just going to get this all plumbed and getting it into the position that I need it to be in. And I'm going to dump maybe a half of this in there because I'm actually going to put some rubble in there to try and keep it anchored. Got my level to make sure that it's nice and plumb. Okay, so around there, it's good. And this side, around there. I'm going to chuck a few of these bits of rubble in there that I dug out from this path a couple of years ago. Okay, so I was just about to commit to using this small piece of timber to actually make the post for for my gate to be attached to. So I decided to change my mind last minute because I didn't like the way in which it looked quite flimsy, quite narrow, and I went in and decided to dig out this piece of timber which I was saving for another project. I think this is a piece of 4x2, and what I'm thinking of actually doing is cutting this to the same length as this piece and using this because I feel it will last a lot longer. This is a much more solid piece of wood, and I think that it will be much stronger with holding this gate as it swings in and out, especially as the kids come in and out of the garden. Once this is seeped through, then we'll just backfill it with some of this soil here, and then it will be as if we were never there, he says. You can see here. Okay, so normally I would leave this for around 24 hours or so for it to dry, for the mix to actually go off, but I haven't got time on my hand at the moment. I've got the kids. They're on holiday, and so I've got to make the most of time, and so I need to straight away try and figure out how to attach this gate and, you know, get it all done and dusted by this afternoon. Abigail's sleeping at the moment, so I've got to make haste, if I'm being completely honest. Part of the challenge is when you've got young kids, you got to make sure that you plan your projects and your jobs around them. Now, one of the reasons why I also chose a lighter gate is because I wanted to be able to just hang it straight away today. And so I'm going to give that a go now. So these are the hinges that I bought from B&M. Just your standard sort of cheap hinges. I'm not expecting anything too special, but hopefully this will do the job for a good number of years anyway. I decided not to use the old ones which was on the other gate because they were starting to come apart. They were a bit rusty. So I'm going to be using these, and hopefully they'll be strong enough to last me a while. See how we get on. Okay, so I've just hung the gate, partially at least, just to test it out, and so far so good. I think it's always important to always make sure you check twice before finalizing anything. The same can be said with stuff like this. I have put gates on before, and I must confess that I have put them on wrong, one reason or another. Maybe I put the hinges on the wrong way, so it doesn't swing the way I need it to swing. So I did as much dummy run as possible, and yeah, it's looking really good so far. So at the moment it hasn't got a catch to stop it from swinging shut, so it's swinging a bit further than it needs to. However, I've got my trusty little snail ornament doing its job down there temporarily. So what I need to do now is to figure out a way to put a latch onto here, attach it to this fence panel, which isn't the strongest, but it should be more than enough to just keep the gate right in the right location. So that's the plan. Now the next thing I need to do after that is figure out whether or not I'm going to use this old bit of gate that I've got here, try and sand it down, repurpose it. I've already cut it roughly to size to see whether or not I'll be able to use it to fit in this corner here, because if I am able to do that, then I won't have to use some of my scrap wood that I've got there. Okay, so I've just finished putting the gate together. I've actually dug into the ground, fixed the post into the ground and attached the gate with some screws and some hinges that I picked up from B&M. After that, I managed to repurpose a piece of the gate which I had before, at least temporarily, to create a partition which connects my neighbour's fence with the gate and prevent you know, the dog from actually running into the garden, which is the whole purpose of this gate anyway. Now my next challenge was to try and figure out a way of actually latching this gate to stop it from swinging. And I remember some while ago actually I went and had to search in the shed for this. I actually picked up one of these, which was a latch mechanism. I always go to B&M because they got really cheap, affordable stuff. Sometimes not the best quality, but for a job like this, I think this will be more than enough. So I actually had one of these lying around, which is great. So the final stage is to get this attached to the fence and the gate, and then hopefully it will be able to keep it from shutting and opening unnecessarily, especially on windy days. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now.